I'm Julia, and guess what? Today, I'm going to tell you a story about 4 very awesome friends. Their names are Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia. Oliver loves exploring and finding cool things outside. Zara is super smart and always has the best ideas. Luna is kind and careful and notices all the little details. And Mia? She's full of giggles and loves adventures most of all. Now, these 4 friends think it's just a regular day. A day for playing, a day for laughing, maybe even a day for treasure hunting in their backyard. But oh, they have no idea what's waiting for them, because hidden under their big old tree is something shiny, something special, something magical. And when they find it, their whole world is about to change. Soon, these friends will shrink down teeny tiny, small, and tumble into a world they never knew existed. A tiny kingdom. A place full of talking bugs, silly surprises, and brand new friends who need a little help. Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia will have to be brave. They'll have to work together. And they'll have to figure out the biggest mystery of all. How do tiny kids get big again? It all starts with 1 shiny button and 4 best friends ready for adventure. Are you ready to join them? Me too! Let's begin with Chapter 1. It was a sunny afternoon in the backyard. Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia were playing their favorite game, Treasure Hunt. Last one to find a shiny thing is a silly snail, giggled Zara. Oliver crawled near the big old tree at the end of the yard. The grass tickled his arms. He peeked under a pile of crispy leaves. Then, something sparkled. Whoa, Oliver whispered. Right there, half buried in the dirt, was a tiny, round button. Not like any button they had ever seen before. It shimmered like a rainbow. It glowed like a tiny star. Guys, come see this, Oliver called. Zara skipped over. Luna came running. Mia tumbled after them. All 4 kids crowded around the shiny button. It's beautiful, said Mia, her eyes wide. It looks kinda magical, whispered Luna. Oliver reached out his finger. Should I touch it? He asked with a grin. Touch it! The others cheered. Oliver tapped the button. Zing! Whoosh! Swirl! The air around them sparkled and spun like glitter in the wind. The world stretched and twisted, grass grew taller, leaves got huge, and pebbles looked like boulders. Poof! When everything stopped spinning, the kids blinked. Oliver looked at Zara. Zara looked at Luna. Luna looked at Mia, and Mia looked down at herself. Ah! They all shouted together. We're tiny. They were no bigger than ants. Blades of grass were as tall as trees. A snail zoomed past them like a race car. Far, far above, their treehouse looked like a castle in the clouds. Oliver gulped. Uh-oh. Where are we? Whispered Zara. Just then, a little voice chirped behind them. Welcome to the tiny kingdom. The kids spun around. Standing on a smooth pebble was a ladybug wearing a teeny tiny hat. Her wings shimmered like glass. She smiled a friendly smile. My name's Dot, said the ladybug. And you must be very lost. Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia stared with their mouths wide open. This was no ordinary backyard anymore. This was the start of a big little adventure. Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia could hardly believe their eyes. A talking ladybug wearing a tiny hat? Did that ladybug just talk? Whispered Mia. Dot the ladybug giggled. It sounded like tiny bells. Of course I talk. This is the tiny kingdom after all. Zara knelt down. Tiny kingdom? She asked. What's that? Dot spread her little wings proudly. It's a special place hidden under your very own tree. We have leaf bridges, teacup houses, and mushroom trampolines, but her happy face drooped. Right now, we have a big problem. Oliver leaned closer. What happened? Dot sighed. A giant breeze blew away our pollen paths. That's how we bugs travel from flower to flower. Luna looked around. She could see tiny bugs carrying pieces of grass and string, but they looked worried. The kingdom was a little messy, like someone had shaken a dollhouse. Zara stood up tall. Well, tiny tall. Don't worry, Dot. We love helping. Yeah, added Oliver. We're good at building stuff. We make forts all the time. Dot's wings perked up. Really? You would help us? Of course, said Mia with a smile. That's what friends do. Dot clapped her little hands. Oh, thank you, thank you. But first, she twirled around, you'll need a ride. Suddenly, a shadow buzzed over them. Whir! A big, friendly beetle with a tiny saddle landed beside Dot. This is Bumper, Dot said proudly. He's our beetle bus. Oliver's mouth dropped open. We get to ride a beetle? Hop on, chirped Dot. One by one, the kids scrambled up onto Bumper's smooth back. It was a little slippery, but so exciting. Hold on tight, said Dot, hopping up beside them. Where are we going? Asked Luna. Dot pointed her tiny hand toward a sparkling path of flowers far, far away. To Bugville, she said with a grin. And adventure. As Bumper's wings buzzed and they zoomed off, the wind rushed past their faces. Oliver laughed. This is the best day ever. Little did they know, their biggest adventure was just beginning. Bumper the Beetle zoomed along the twisty paths of the tiny kingdom. Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia held on tight as tall grass whooshed past them like waving trees. Look over there, shouted Zara. They zipped past a spiderweb bridge that glittered like diamonds in the sun. Whoa, look at that, pointed Luna. They passed a teacup house with a daisy roof. A family of ants were sipping tea out of thimble cups. This place is amazing, breathed Mia. Dot giggled proudly. Bugville is full of wonders, but we need to get to the town square fast. As they reached Bugville, the kids' eyes grew even wider. Everywhere they looked, tiny bugs were busy. A grasshopper band played music on leafy drums. Butterflies hung laundry made from flower petals. Roly-poly bugs rolled around like bouncy balls. But something was wrong. The pollen path's twisty lines of golden dust that helped the bugs find their way were broken. Pieces of leaves and twigs were scattered everywhere. Ladybugs, ants, beetles, and bees all looked worried. Oh dear, said Dot. Without the pollen paths, bugs keep getting lost. A little bumblebee bumped gently into Bumper. Oof. Sorry, Dot. I can't tell which way to the tulip market. Dot turned to the kids. This is what I mean. Bugville needs your help. Oliver jumped down. Let's fix those paths. Zara nodded. But we'll need building stuff. Mia pointed to a pile of tiny treasures nearby. There were spaghetti sticks, crayon pieces, buttons, bottle caps, and rubber bands. Look, said Luna. Bugville has stuff just like in our craft box at home. Oliver grinned. We can totally work with this. Dot clapped her hands. You really think you can help us build new paths? Teamwork is our superpower, said Zara proudly. Just then, a tiny bug with glasses hurried over. It was Professor Wiggles, a very clever caterpillar. I can draw you a map, he said, but someone needs to build it. Oliver smiled. You found the right crew. The kids rolled up their tiny sleeves. Bugville was about to get a big, busy, bugtastic makeover. Professor Wiggles unrolled a teeny tiny map made from a leaf. He pointed with his bendy caterpillar finger. We need new paths here, here, And here, he said. If the bugs can follow these paths, they'll reach the flower gardens, the market, and the playground. Oliver grinned. Let's get building! Dot led the kids to the supply pile, a wobbly mountain of little lost treasures. There were spaghetti sticks like long, skinny logs, crayon pieces like colorful bricks, rubber bands like bouncy ropes, buttons like stepping stones. This is perfect, said Zara, clapping her hands. Mia spotted a shiny paperclip. We can use this as a slide rail. Luna found a tiny bottle cap. This could be a bug bridge. Dot buzzed happily around them. You kids are so clever. Oliver and Zara built a rainbow path out of crayon pieces. Luna and Mia lined up spaghetti sticks to make a safe walkway. The bugs of Bugville joined in too. The ants marched in a line, carrying tiny pebbles. The ladybugs rolled buttons into place. The beetles pushed big leaves like road signs. Everyone worked together, lifting, stacking, tying, and laughing. Even Bumper the Beetle helped by pulling a long dandelion stem like a rope. Teamwork makes the dream work, cheered Zara. Professor Wiggles checked the map. You're almost done, he smiled. But just as they were placing the last crayon piece, whoosh, a gust of wind blew through Bugville. The spaghetti sticks wobbled. The buttons rolled away. Oh no, cried Mia. Not again. The kids held on to each other so they wouldn't blow away too. When the wind settled, Dot fluttered her tiny wings and looked worried. The paths, she whispered. They're all mixed up again. Oliver stood up straight. It's okay, he said. We won't give up. Zara nodded. We just need to make them stronger. Luna smiled. And maybe more fun too. Dot's eyes sparkled. You're right, she cheered. Let's build it better together. And so, the kids came up with their biggest idea yet. Bugville's super silly, super strong adventure path. Oliver, Zara, Luna, Mia, and all their new bug friends huddled together. We need to build a path that can't blow away, said Oliver. And one that's super fun, added Zara. Professor Wiggles wiggled with excitement. An adventure path. Dot the ladybug clapped her tiny hands. That sounds amazing. Mia smiled. Let's use sticky honey drops to hold the crayon pieces together. Luna grinned. We can tie spaghetti sticks with spider silk like ropes, Oliver pointed, and use buttons like hop-hop stepping stones. Zara giggled. And we can add a trampoline. All the bugs cheered. This is going to be the best path Bugville has ever seen. Dot buzzed. Everyone got to work. The bees brought tiny drops of sticky honey. The spiders kindly shared their silky threads. The ants marched in perfect lines, carrying supplies. The kids worked side by side, building, balancing, and bouncing. Oliver hammered the spaghetti sticks into the ground like strong posts. Luna tied them together with shiny spider silk. Mia carefully dotted honey between crayon pieces like glue. Zara stacked colorful buttons to make a bouncy step. The best part? A big, soft mushroom at the end of the path. Bounce, bounce, boing. It's a mushroom trampoline, laughed Luna as she bounced high in the air. Dot stood at the start of the new adventure path. Ready to try it out? She asked. Ready? The kids cheered. They hopped on buttons, balanced across spaghetti sticks, skipped over crayon bridges, zoomed down a twisty paperclip slide, and finally, boing, bounced high off the mushroom trampoline. Whee! Even Bumper the Beetle slid down and bounced, landing with a happy beetle grin. All the bugs clapped their tiny hands. The adventure path is perfect, cheered Dot. Professor Wiggles gave the kids a proud caterpillar bow. You saved Bugville? Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia looked at their new friends. They felt happy and tired, but there was still one little problem. Luna looked around. Guys, she whispered. How do we get back to our normal size? Dot's eyes grew wide. Oh dear, she said softly. I think you'll need the sparkly button. Oliver gasped. But where is it? Dot pointed to the other side of Bugville. At the top of Bumbleberry Hill. Everyone turned to look. It was tall. It was twisty. It was covered in climbing vines and tiny bug-sized obstacles. Mia smiled nervously. Looks like we've got one more adventure to go. Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia stared up at Bumbleberry Hill. It was the tallest hill in the tiny kingdom, way taller than them. At the very tippy top, they could just see a little sparkle. The sparkly button, gasped Oliver. Dot the ladybug flew beside them. Getting there won't be easy, she warned. But I know you can do it. Professor Wiggles handed them a crinkly leaf map. This will show you the safe way up. Luna smiled bravely. We love adventures. Mia squeezed her friend's hands. Let's do this together. Step by tiny step, the kids started to climb. They crawled over twisty vines like jungle ropes. They tiptoed across a narrow stick bridge. They used dandelion fluff like soft ladders. Zara giggled. This is like a buggy obstacle course. Oliver grinned. Watch me balance. But halfway up the hill, the wind started to blow. Whoosh! The stick bridge wobbled. The dandelion ladder swayed. Oh no, cried Mia. Hold on. The kids grabbed the vines tightly. Dot zipped around them. You can do it. Just stay low and go slow. As they climbed higher, something sticky squished under Oliver's foot. Squelch! Ew, what's that? He laughed. It's bumbleberry jelly, giggled Zara. Purple jelly blobs were stuck to the ground and super slippery. Careful, warned Luna. These berries are extra gooey. Mia had an idea. Let's use these leaves like jelly scoopers. They worked together, scooping the sticky jelly out of the way so they wouldn't slip. Oliver chuckled. Bugville is full of surprises. Almost there. At last, they reached the top of Bumbleberry Hill. The wind was softer here. The grass was golden. And right in the center, sitting on a flat stone, was the sparkly button. It shimmered with rainbow colors. Zara whispered, It's even more beautiful up close. Oliver reached out. Just as he touched it, rustle, rustle, something moved in the grass behind them. Luna's eyes went wide. Guys? She whispered. Mia gulped. We're not alone. Out from the grass popped a giant, googly-eyed bug. It had long legs, wiggly feelers, and a big friendly grin. Hi there, it said in a deep, rumbly voice. I'm Hopper, guardian of the button. Oliver blinked. A talking grasshopper? Hopper chuckled. If you want the sparkly button, you'll have to pass my super silly challenge. The kids looked at each other. Zara grinned. Let's do this. Hopper, the giant grasshopper, stretched his long, bendy legs. If you want the sparkly button, he boomed with a wiggly smile. You'll need to pass the bug bounce challenge. Oliver's eyes lit up. That sounds awesome, Luna giggled. But what's a bug bounce? Hopper pointed to a patch of springy grass. It's a game we play here in the tiny kingdom. You have to bounce, hop, and laugh your way across without falling down, Mia whispered. Sounds tricky. Zara bounced on her toes. Sounds fun. Dot the ladybug buzzed over and cheered. You can do it. Remember, teamwork. Hopper explained the rules. Bounce from leaf to leaf. Don't touch the jelly patches. Too sticky. Make your best bug bounce sound on every hop. Oliver practiced boing, boing, boing. Zara added, spronging. Luna laughed. Ball boing. Mia smiled. Whee! Hopper gave them a big grasshopper grin. Ready, set, bug bounce. Oliver led the way, bouncing from leaf to leaf. Bewing! He shouted. Zara followed with a big hop. Spring! Luna jumped carefully. Boing! Mia zipped after them. Whee! But suddenly, squish! Oliver landed near a jelly patch. Uh-oh, slippery. He wobbled. Teamwork time, called Zara. Luna grabbed a spaghetti stick from her pocket. She had saved it from Bugville and stretched it toward Oliver. Grab on! Oliver steadied himself and bounced to safety. Thanks, Luna. They were almost to the finish when... Buzz! A bumblebee zoomed past, scattering dandelion fluff like tiny snowflakes. The kids started to sneeze. Chew. Chew. Mia giggled. We're gonna bounce right off from sneezing. Zara had a quick idea. Let's duck down low and roll like roly-polies. Together they tucked, rolled, and tumbled the last few bounces across the finish line. Hey! Plunk! They landed in a soft pile of moss. They did it! Hopper clapped his long grasshopper legs together. Well done, tiny travelers, he cheered. You bounced with bravery and laughed with heart. That's the true spirit of Bugville. Oliver stood up, beaming. So, can we have the sparkly button now? Hopper bowed with a wiggly smile. It is all yours, little friends. He carefully handed the glowing button to Oliver. It sparkled brighter than ever. Mia whispered, Now we can go home. Dot fluttered over, smiling. But don't forget, she said softly. You still need one more thing to return to your world. Luna blinked. What's that? Dot smiled kindly. You must say a big thank you to Bugville from your hearts. The kids all shared a look. They knew just what to do. Oliver held the sparkly button carefully in his tiny hands. It's so shiny, whispered Mia. And powerful, added Luna. But before we go home, said Zara, looking around, we need to say thank you, the biggest thank you ever. Dot, the ladybug's eyes twinkled. Bugville loves kindness most of all. Oliver had an idea. Let's make a thank you sign. Mia smiled. With colorful crayon pieces, Luna added, and flower petals. Zara grinned, and spaghetti sticks to hold it up. All the bugs of Bugville gathered to help. The ants carried crayons like little logs. The butterflies brought soft petals. The beetles pushed tiny pebbles for decorations. The spiders spun shiny silk to hold it all together. Together, they built the most beautiful sign. It said, Thank you, Bugville. Love, Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia. The sign shimmered in the sunlight. Professor Wiggles sniffled. It's the nicest thing I've ever seen. Hopper wiped a happy bug tear. You kids have the biggest hearts. Dot smiled proudly. And because you've shared your kindness, the sparkly button is ready to send you home. But first, Bugville had one more surprise. A bug-sized parade. The grasshopper band played bouncy music. The ladybugs twirled like dancers. The fireflies glowed like twinkly lights. Even Bumper the beetle wore a crown made of flowers. Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia rode on a tiny leaf float. Zara whispered, This is the best goodbye party ever. Luna sighed happily. I'm going to miss Bugville. Mia smiled. Me too. Dot landed on Oliver's shoulder. Bugville will always be in your hearts, she said softly, even when you're big again. At the end of the parade, Dot led them to a soft, mossy patch, the perfect place to use the sparkly button. Oliver held it up. Are we ready? He asked. Everyone nodded. Let's do it together, said Zara. The four friends held hands. Together, they whispered, Thank you, Bugville. The sparkly button began to glow, brighter, brighter, until whoosh! The world began to sparkle and spin once more. The world spun like a glittery whirlpool. Colors swirled, sparkles danced. Whoosh! Swirl! Poof! Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia landed with a soft plop on the grass. Everything was quiet. Everything was still. Oliver slowly opened one eye. "Did it work?" he whispered. Zara sat up and looked around. The tree nearby was no longer giant. It was just their regular backyard tree. The grass was short again. The snail that had zoomed past them before was just a tiny little snail. Mia gasped, "We're big again!" Luna stood up and twirled, back to normal size. The kids cheered and hugged each other. "We did it," Oliver laughed. "We really did it," Zara beamed. Mia reached into her pocket and gasped, "Hey, what's this?" She pulled out a teeny, tiny pouch. Inside were flower seeds. Tiny, colorful seeds from Bugville. Dot must have left them for the kids as a special goodbye gift. Oliver read the tiny note attached. "Plant these and remember your tiny kingdom adventure." Luna smiled softly. "That's so sweet." The kids sat together under their tree, remembering their favorite moments. The beetle bus ride, the mushroom trampoline, building the adventure path, Hopper's silly bug bounce challenge. "And Dot," said Zara quietly. "She was the best bug friend ever." Oliver held the sparkly button in his palm. It no longer glowed, but it still sparkled a little in the sunlight. Mia looked at their tree and whispered, "Do you think Bugville is still there? Under the tree?" Luna grinned. "I think Bugville will always be there in its own tiny way." The kids all smiled, but their adventure wasn't quite over yet. Oliver stood up. "Let's plant these seeds." Oliver, Zara, Luna, and Mia got to work right away. They picked a special spot under their big backyard tree, the same tree where their tiny kingdom adventure had begun. "It's perfect," said Zara. Oliver opened the tiny pouch of Bugville flower seeds. They sparkled just a little, like they were full of tiny magic. "Let's plant them in a circle," suggested Luna. "Like a little Bugville garden," added Mia. Together, they carefully pressed the seeds into the dirt. Oliver patted the soil gently. Luna sprinkled a little water. Zara added tiny pebbles like decorations. Mia whispered, "Grow happy, little seeds." As they worked, they told stories about their adventure. "Remember the beetle bus?" laughed Oliver. "And the mushroom trampoline?" giggled Zara. "And Hopper's silly bug bounce?" said Luna. Mia smiled. "And Dot's tiny hat." They laughed and laughed, but in their hearts, they felt a little warm and quiet, kind of like saying goodbye. Just as they finished planting, a gentle breeze blew through the garden. Soft dandelion fluff floated past them, just like in Bugville. Luna's eyes widened. "Look!" There, sitting on a rock, was a teeny tiny ladybug. She wasn't wearing a hat. But for just a second, it felt like Dot was saying hello. Or maybe, thank you. Zara waved at the little ladybug. "Hi, Dot," she whispered. Oliver placed the sparkly button gently beside the garden rock. "Let's leave it here," he said, "just in case we ever need another adventure." The kids sat down in a happy circle, looking at their new little garden. As the sun began to set, the flowers hadn't grown yet, but the memories had. Big, bright, beautiful memories of a tiny world full of wonder. A world of teamwork, laughter, and kindness. Bugville. Oliver smiled at his friends. "Best adventure ever," he said. "Bug-tastically the best," giggled Mia. They all agreed. And from that day on, every time they played near the big backyard tree, they remembered the tiny kingdom under their feet, the tiny friends in their hearts, and the big lesson that even the smallest kindness can grow into something truly magical. The end.